Yeah, hi folks. Now today I'm going to briefly cover the new hate speech proposals, specifically in respect to the protection of political opinion. Now in respect to these new proposals, I will be submitting a submission into the Select Committee, assuming they're going to use that process for taking in public input. Firstly, I'll state that I don't want these new laws simply because they won't protect me and thousands of people like me. But at the same time, I will expose the Maori Party and how they deliberately destroyed a man's life. And I'll also expose Byron Clark, who has intentionally incited people to help cancel legitimate YouTube channels with fake reporting, fake complaints. Anyway, let's get started.
We're talking about inciting hatred for a group of people.
I want to test zone a bit more where that line is. But how do you what protections are there to ensure that that these law changes aren't abused, that a government doesn't use it to kind of kibosh criticism of a government, kibosh accountability?
Yeah, look, I think one particular thing we want some feedback is one of the grounds for discrimination in the Human Rights Act currently is political opinion. Now, I want to be really clear, we're not out to give protection to politicians at all.
So that must include the Maori Party as well.
We should be out for the rough and tumble of this place. But there may be some people who hold a political ideology, and there may be some examples where someone might be threatening them, using language to threaten them and abuse them.
But how do you define abuse? Being critical can be defined as abuse. And how do you define threatening? Byron Clark is threatening me right now, and I belong to a political group. So I'm going to make sure the same rules apply to him.
And that may be caught under the new regime. Again, we're asking for people's opinions on that through this discussion document and engagement to see where they think that line should be.
But if you are including all of those groups that are protected under Section 21 of the Human Rights Act, as you say, political opinion is protected. So if I write an opinion piece that says Jacinda Ardern is a communist or a dictator, could I be stung for hate speech?
Well, let's not use that. Let's use something else theoretical. But we do not want this process to be seen in any way that we're stymieing people to give their opinion about the people that inhabit this place.
I don't believe that for a moment. Anyway, now to what the Maori Party have done. Now folks, this petition was put together by the Maori Party to get a private citizen fired from his job. It clearly incites people to help get this guy, Lee Williams, fired, and they have succeeded. Now I'll be sending screenshots of this with my submission to the Select Committee on Hate Speech. Sinlay, stop employing white supremacists. Well, Lee is definitely not a white supremacist. This is a blatant lie. We, the undersigned, are deeply concerned to learn that Lee Williams, the author of the violent white supremacist blog and media channel Across the Rubicon, they can't even get that right, is employed by Sinlay. Violent. He walks around in a park. Lee has been responsible for disseminating extreme white supremacist material and has consistently been reported for creating objectionable and racist media for his channel. Reported by whom? Obviously by people with differing political opinions. More recently, he has taken to directly attacking Maori MPs Rawiwi Waititi and Honourable Willie Jackson. That's called satire, folks, using blatantly racist rhetoric, and is actively and deliberately stoking public fear in response to the He Pua Pua report. Now we're getting close to the truth, folks. This is what it's all about. They don't want people reporting on the He Pua Pua report, which was written for the Labour Party and has recommendations of co-governance. And nobody in New Zealand, very, very few people in New Zealand want co-governance. And they do not want anybody to know about this report. So this is why Lee has been silenced, and they're trying to silence me now. Sinlay espouses values such as diversity, inclusion and thriving community. This is entirely at odds with the violent rhetoric of their employee Lee Williams. Diversity. Diversity, I assume, means diversity of political opinion as well. We call upon Sinlay to review his contract in reflection of their espoused values and make it clear that they give nothing to racism, most especially a paycheck. Anyway, now to Byron Clark. Now, folks, I searched my own name and was quite surprised to see how much Byron Clark is actively targeting right-wing people. And screenshots of this page and other pages will be included in my submission to the Select Committee on Hate Speech. Now, scroll down slowly and you can pause the video as you wish. Now that Lee Williams and Damien Dement have been removed from the platform, the biggest New Zealand-based far-right YouTube channel is Opines, which is full of transphobia, Islamophobia and anti-Maori racism. Get reporting. None of this is true. But he says, get reporting. Get reporting. So clearly this guy, Byron Clark, is inciting people to harm me, to get my channel taken down with fake reports, fake complaints. Anyway, now to a sample of Byron from his YouTube channel.
Tonight, your challenge is to separate what is true from what is false, what is fact, and what is fiction. To find out, you must enter a world of both truth and deception. YouTube, a world that is beyond belief.
You ever watch Cross the Rubicon on YouTube? Being a consumer of political YouTube content is a constant battle between determining truth from fiction. Let's watch a few clips.
Hate speech laws. So basically what I'm saying now is going to be hate speech at some stage.
Fiction.
Fiction. Oh, I believe you.
Very soon. So when I'm stating facts of what's happening in Europe, it's going to be a hate crime and I will be arrested and probably fined, charged, maybe even imprisoned. That is what is happening in New Zealand.
No.
No. Oh, I believe you.
But that's the tyranny of this government, because this government is a globalist government. They believe this is a good idea, and this is, I believe, been driven by George Soros and the United Nations, obviously, and other multi-billionaires that want to destroy the West as we know it.
It's false.
It's false. Oh, I believe you.
I want to talk about the refugees that the government is going to bring in from March next year into New Zealand, and 1,500 per year apparently. Now what they aren't telling you is that these 1,500 will be allowed to be bringing their extended families into New Zealand, so they could each bring dozens upon dozens and dozens each, because it's going to be their human right to bring their extended family members.
It's fiction.
It's fiction. And he goes on and on like that and only gives a few examples to back up his claims. And that's the kind of guy we're dealing with, folks. Now, folks, Byron Clark is also inciting hatred against right-wing people by taking down YouTube channels, and this must stop, otherwise democracy is dead. Anyway, I've posted relevant links in the description below, including a petition by the ACT Party to have these new hate speech laws canned.